Who loves food? I know I do. In fact, I'm a massive, massive foodie, whether that's for sort of sports performance or just social occasions, whenever. I'm always thinking about food. It's a shame I can't cook. But anyway, good afternoon. You probably have seen, or some of you would have seen my video recently where I did drinking fragrance notes, where I sort of had these flavoured teas and there were notes in them that you find in fragrances essentially. Doing the food version today. So this morning I've basically done my workout and I've eaten 12 sort of different types of foods that I know fragrances have these notes in. So what I'm going to do, I'm obviously sitting at my computer today. I'm going to sort of show you the clip of me eating these foods, and then I'm going to find one fragrance per sort of food ingredient, and yeah, see if we can maybe learn some new fragrances, maybe some that I've had before or I've smelt before, but also ones that maybe I haven't smelt before, and we can just see what the great community on Fragrantica have said, and yeah, maybe they can go on the shopping list as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the clip of which sort of food I've eaten first. We'll go in order of the morning to lunchtime, and yeah, we'll find a fragrance for each one. Let's get on with it. So the first thing you just saw me eat there was some plums. I do like a plum, and I do like plums in fragrances, although I haven't had many. I know Lush do one called Plum Rain, and yeah, definitely want to get that one at some point. But the fragrance we're going to talk about today is actually from Dupe. Now this got a bit of hype a few years ago. I think a few people online, a few of the fragrance reviewers on YouTube really liked this one. And it's Dupe on Ice. Now the sort of main accords with this one are citrus, fruity, sweet, aromatic, warm, spicy, woody, white floral tobacco, but again, it's very much citrus fruity. And the plum in this fragrance was actually the top note. The top notes are plum, clary sage, and bergamot. You've got grapefruit in there as well. And then in the sort of base notes, you've got your more woody notes, tobacco, cardamom, and sandalwood. Now, what do people say on Fragranza? Well, first of all, we got 3.85 out of 5, so not too bad, not too bad at all. But people said the performance is great. That doesn't surprise me with Duke. They tend to use very fruity, synthetic fruits with these ones as well. Easy to wear, dress it up, dress it down. Again, pretty versatile, which is great. But what people didn't like about it is where it's called Dupe on Ice, and the bottle's like a nice clear blue bottle. It wasn't really like that, you know. It was much more fruity than icy, and just very synthetic. That people almost felt it was like a laundry cleaner room spray, which is a common sort of complaint with Dupe. So yeah, I'd be really interested to know if anyone's tried this one before. But people just kind of said it was just a nice, easy to wear, almost fabric softener type fragrance. But it looks like it's been discontinued, which is a shame. But yeah, again, I don't actually mind that sort of synthetic fruitiness. Obviously, I've got the original Dupe just sitting over there, and again, I can see why people don't like it. But I think as a entry level fragrance, this one sounds really nice. And you know, I think again having like a note like plum as the sort of dominant opening note, it's quite nice. I really like fruity fragrances. I think they're good room fillers. And as I said, if you're someone new into fragrances, I can imagine that being really, really good. I don't think plum in fragrances though sort of tastes like the an actual plum, and I don't think the smell particularly. What does plum smell like? But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I obviously eating plum, you don't really get a smell from that type of fruit. But yeah, if anyone's tried that one or anyone's got any plum fragrances to recommend, please do so. But Plum Rain's the other one from Lush. Definitely want to try. Right, let's go on to the next thing. I don't know if I can really count it as cherry, but we're going to say it's cherry for the sake of it. It was a kefir yogurt, that, by the way. Love fermented yogurts. They're really, really nice. And yeah, those beautiful ones or whatever it is, they're really good. Do recommend. But what's the fragrance I've gone for? Well, I could have easily gone for Lost Cherry here by Tom Ford, and that's a brilliant, brilliant fragrance, by the way. Gone for another really quite expensive one that you can certainly get on Harrods and Liberty in London. It's about 160 quid on there, so I wouldn't be buying that. But this one is Moonlight Cherry by Van Cleef and Arpels. Again, it is a unisex one. I think this definitely leans more feminine, just looking at it in general. But I've never really mentioned that as a fragrance house. Van Cleef and Arpels, though, very high end. I've never tried one. So if anyone's had some Van Cleef and Arpels phrases, please let me know. But if we look at the main accords on Fragrantica, it's cherry, sweet, almond, nutty, fruity, rum, vanilla, coffee, warm, spicy, powdery. Something I've noticed with cherry fragrances, particularly, tend to mix them with boozy notes and tend to mix them with those nutty notes as well. Um, Almost like a liqueur essentially. And I think this sounds right up my street. When you've got notes like cherry and coffee in a fragrance together as well, bitter almond rum. Just sounds lovely. Gets 4.18 out of 5. Obviously, more of a winter fall night out fragrance. So, what do people like about it? What do they not like about it? More importantly, as well, because it's yeah, it sounds like one that I feel surprised I haven't heard about it. Funny enough, though, it's been compared to Lost Cherry. That's the most sort of similar one that people compare it to. Um, what do they say? Yeah, some people again, what they find is it's almost just a bit similar to the other sort of cherry fragrances that are out there, and performance isn't amazing. They say it doesn't smell like black opium red, but yeah. I think what people find with this one, just looking at it in general, is it's not done anything too different. It's not broken the mold. A lot of these expensive cherry fragrances do just kind of smell much the same. Yeah, maybe it just needed to do something different. Maybe the coffee, I would have liked maybe, or from what I can tell, it sounds like it's more nutty cherry. Maybe a really strong sort of coffee cherry combination would be really, really nice. I think that would go really well. You could call it like cafe something. But yeah, definitely would try it. But boring seems to be the main thing people say about it, which is a shame. But I did want to kind of mention Van Cleef and Arpels because it's a fragrance house I've not touched on. So please let me know if you do recommend any, and if you recommend this one, if you've tried it before. Right, what did I eat next? I very rarely have milk on my cereal these days, which sounds really weird, doesn't it? But I don't. I either have sort of a Huel sort of salted caramel ready to drink bottle, or I have this whey protein powder, and the whey protein powder was in my Huel bottle. It was vanilla ice cream flavour. Now I've spoken about an ice cream sort of scent before from this house, and it's Fragrance World. I'm absolutely in love with their coffee collection at the moment. It's probably the one that I really want to explore a little bit more. Now this one I tried actually in London. There's a shop called Beauty Base, and this one's called Cafe and Cream from Fragrance World. Now the notes in it, and it's obviously the ice cream that I really want to talk about today, but top notes are amaretto and coffee. They do a lot of booziness and coffee notes. Middle notes is where the ice cream is biscuit, vanilla, brown sugar, vanilla, and amber. So it's the ice creams in the middle, essentially, of this fragrance. Now, what does it get as a rating? It gets 4.26 out of 5. I tried this in the shop and it was my favourite fragrance in there. I really, really liked it. They're gourmand fragrances are brilliant, and this one is definitely one I want to try again and buy at some point as well. So yeah, if that sounds like one that's of interest to you, yeah, ice cream in the two sort of fragrance world fragrances, Affogato's one, and cafe and cream is certainly the other one here. But what do people compare it to? So they compare it to Amore Cafe by Mancera. Okay, Mancera fragrances again, very nice. What do people like about it or not like about it? So yeah, people say it's very, very sweet and very gourmand. Again, what I would say is if you really like, again, performance is amazing on this. If you really like realistic gourmand scents, almost that people might almost think you just smell of food, then this one's great. I don't mind this at all. People say it's absolutely spot on. The ice cream here is the dominant note, and I really recommend ice cream fragrances. The ones I've tried so far are brilliant, and certainly taste nice on my cereal as well. But what did I go? What else did I add on my cereal? I added a few more bits. Banana. Yeah, that was a bit of banana. It's dried banana actually, but I do like real bananas as well. But yeah, not on my cereal. It doesn't go really well with shakes and water, does it? So what one have I gone for as a banana fragrance? Well, banana's quite popular in fragrance notes. And this one here, I've not tried this, but I like the sound of it. And it's one that's apparently unisex from Zara. So it's called Sun-Kissed Banana. Again, main accord, sweet, fruity, tropical. I like the thought of tropical fragrances. Almond and powdery. And again, as you can imagine, the three notes that they've given, a lot of these sort of designer clothing brands only give you a few, but it's banana, meringue, and almond. So again, we're going very much on that gourmand sort of vibe here as well. So what do people like about it? Apparently they say it's not as banana as you'd think, more like a sweet honey, clean soap vibe. I reckon this is quite youthful. From what I can gather here, people say it's quite youthful. Um, Only issue again, longevity and sillage. Now I own a couple of Zara's Bogos Vibrant Leather. The pineapple in them is super sweet, super inviting, super strong when you spray it, but it just completely drops off after that. Sounds a little bit like that with sun-kissed banana, but yeah, I don't mind that. Sometimes I think that's okay. My only worry with this is that sort of tropical thing. Could it go again into that sort of detergent cleaner vibe? But yeah, I've always been a massive fan of Zara fragrances, and that's why I wanted to mention this one as well. I think they're really playful, really easy to wear, very inviting, and I think for an entry level fragrance, Sunkissed Banana would be great. Good sort of fruity fragrance, which I don't think you can go too wrong with. You can wear them most of the year, so yeah, I'm a big fan. And in terms of a rating, which people give it on there, 3.79. It's not too bad, is it? I'll take that. £15. Safe, isn't it? Right, on to the next one. Now, again, I don't think you can get this fragrance anymore, but the Body Shop do some really nice sort of names of fragrances as well. And what I really appreciate with this one is the fact they literally call it out for what it is. So that sort of nut I had there was a Brazil nut. Really like Brazil nuts, big fan of them. And yeah, the Body Shop released one literally just called Brazil nut. It was for women. It's an Oriental vanilla fragrance. It was launched during the 2000s, early 2000s. Apparently, it was relaunched in 2013 as a 30 ml eau de toilette. So you never know; it may come back if it's not around at the moment. But the notes in it: Brazil nut, dark chocolate, and vanilla. I really like that. Again, very very gourmand. People say it's very much a winter fall fragrance. Gets 4.1 out of 5, which I think is pretty good. Now, what do people say about it? What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? Um, People say it's very Christmassy. Okay, interesting. But the nuttiness is really at the heart of this. And as we were saying with Lush Cinders in my review the other day, it's very hard to make nut a dominant note in a fragrance. I don't think it has that strong projection about it. And, you'd normally think maybe the chocolate's going to take over, but it does sound like the nuttiness of this really is prominent. So very nutty and creamy with almost a liqueur undertone. That's what I like with nutty fragrances. You almost get that liqueur vibe with them. Again, Lush Cinders, that almond gives off that marzipan cherry bakewell vibe, but also that slight bouginess and classiness about it. So hopefully this one will come back out. I don't care if it's marketed for women. I would try that one. So the Body Shop, if you have still got this, I really want it. But if not, get it back because I definitely want to try it. But let me know if anyone's tried any other Brazil nut fragrances. Can't imagine there's too many. So fair play to them for doing something a little bit different. Now, I've mentioned this note many a time that I think it's underrated, a little bit like rose. It's coconut. And actually, to be fair, not many fragrance houses, I think, go into it. I mean, some Tom Ford fragrances do, some Davidoff ones do, called Water Intense. But I didn't know about this one. This one's called Silky Coconut, and it's a body mist by Calvin Klein. It is unisex. It came out in 2025, so it came out this year, which I'm really, really glad to see that there is a house that's a designer brand that is still going into it. And it gets 4.06 out of 5 with 18 votes. So it's not had a huge amount of votes so far. Very much spring and summer. Now, what are the main calls? Well, obviously coconut, sweet, lactonic, tropical, vanilla, musky, nutty, as you'd expect. I think they've released this in maybe shower gels as well. But anyway, what do people like about it? What do they not like about it? They say they often find coconut scents to be cloying, but she smells like coconut ice cream or yogurt with frozen pineapple shavings. It has a freshness to it. So good. I love this so much. Similar to some coconut scents from Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body Works. However, it is still wonderful. And they say it's not as sort of sweet, this one. So coconut, as I said, you can almost get this sun cream vibe to it, and it can be a little bit, yeah, quite feminine. But this one sounds like it's right down the middle, according to people on here, and that's really good to see. So, yeah, very interested to try that one. Again, I'm not sure Calvin Klein if they'll just discontinue this one quickly. So I thought I'd just kind of make people aware of this one. If you do like coconut scents, this is a great one to potentially try. And if you haven't tried Cool Water Intense, super strong, super synthetic, super strong. Got me a lot of compliments though. So anyone does like it or like coconut scents, please try that one. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. It's nice to see a 2025 release from a designer brand touching on coconut as a dominant note. Right, what else did I eat? Now, I'll be honest with you, I've just put this one in because I loved the bottle. I assume this is the bottle. Yeah, House of Oud. The House of Oud, which is called Let's Blizzit. explicit, basically. So this fragrance, main accords a sweet, fruity, powdery, violet, musky, tropical, yellow floral, amber, warm, spicy, and woody. And the note we're talking about here is peanut butter. So we just talked about Brazil nuts, but actually peanut butter is a note in it for this one. This was also launched in 2025. Top notes, yang yang, cannot pronounce it, lemon zest, middle notes, banana, peanut butter, bread, and spices. Bread. This is interesting, isn't it? Base notes, violet, musk, amber, and fruit. So it's going to mainly be a fruity sort of fragrance, but it looks super versatile. Fruity floral gourmand is what they call it. So it does touch basically into every avenue of scent profiles. Now, what do people say about it? Well, their bottles are very interesting. All their bottles seem to be very similar. Very unique, but not a safe blind buy. They say it's very creamy with the banana. People say it smells like banana bread topped with peanut butter. I need to try this. Banana bread is my favourite cake, by the way. So, banana sandwich. So, yeah, interesting. Chocolate, almonds, and violets. This is disgusting. Christian Calabro, which is the perfumer, better step his game up. Someone's not very happy there at all. Wow, interesting. So, yeah, if you like the sort of sound of a banana bread cake, maybe this is the fragrance. That's definitely one I want to try. I don't think it's very cheap, though, looking at it. So, yeah, maybe one to save up for over the next year. So, yeah, what did I go for then? So I was making my overnight oats, not for tomorrow, but for 2 days' time. That's how ahead I get. Now, oats in fragrances, again, a minute ago we just spoke about bread in fragrances. Well, oats been in a fragrance as well. And this one's from Joe Malone. Again, another fragrance I've not touched on because obviously they're more marketed towards women. But this is apparently a unisex one. It's called Oat and Cornflower. Now, the main accords are savoury, nutty, woody, lactonic, floral, herbal, aromatic. In terms of a sort of score, it gets 4.12 out of 5, 310 votes. People say it's like a hug in a bottle, which I think is quite interesting. Like a milky bath, I think this is. So I definitely think this is pretty much a more feminine type fragrance. But I like the fact it's obviously put oat in there. The other notes are hazelnut, cornflower, and vetiver. So I kind of get this sort of, people are saying it's got a green freshness to it. But yeah, just like a nice milky bath. And oat does seem to be quite prominent in this, which is really nice to see. Again, because it's not a note that you particularly would think of in fragrances. But yeah, people just say it's very, very well blended, very relaxing if you've had a stressful day. And I can imagine it almost being more like a sort of cream, like you rub on your skin, like a relaxing cream. But if you like that sort of naturalistic type fragrances, this may just be one to consider. I think there's an issue around it potentially being discontinued, but I think you can definitely still get it on eBay. So, yeah, so hazelnut's obviously quite prominent, but the oat I think just makes it feel quite well blended together, very calming, and yeah, definitely one to consider, I think. Anyway, what did I have next? Another reason I've picked this one was because it's a brand I've never had, but they do some very well-known ones. One called Icon. It's Dunhill, of course. Now, the food I've just eaten, of course, was an apple. Now, this one's called Desire for a Man. It comes in a red bottle, so I'm assuming this is going to be like a nice red apple. Anyway, the notes. Citrus, vanilla, fruity, rose, fresh, powdery, woody, musky, green, fresh, spicy. This feels like a versatile scent, and that's what people are saying on here. Top notes of this fragrance: apple, lemon, bergamot, orange blossom, rose, teakwood, patchouli, base notes, vanilla and musk. Gets 4.05 out of 5. That's had over 2,000 votes. So what do people say about it? Well, it's very affordable. You can still get it, by the way, around £20–30. Seductive and alluring smell. Great for any occasion. Again, as we were just saying, super versatile, casual or formal. Suitable for men of any age. What do people not like about it? Maybe too youthful. So completely contradicting what other people have said. It's quite loud. I don't think this is probably very natural compared to some of the other ones we've just spoke about. It's obviously got a very decent sillage. Again, probably that synthetic fruitiness in these fragrances, yeah, maybe too much for some people. But I think if anyone wants a strong, cheap, fruity fragrance that can be used in many occasions, this sounds like a really, really good one to try. And I definitely need to touch on Dunhill because I do like the sound of some of their fragrances. So yeah, if anyone's had this one, please let me know. It seems a very popular one. I think it seems to bring back a lot of childhood memories for most people. So sort of a safe, yeah, college sixth form ones. So if you're someone around that age, might be worth a try. But I'm happy to try it as well at some point. The next one, so you would have seen, I apologise for this terrible sandwich I made. It's terrible, I know, but I get in from the gym, I'm starving, and I just shove it all in and put it in my mouth. But we're talking about cucumber here. Now, the reason I've picked this one is because I've never heard of this fragrance, and I'm a big fan of this fragrance house. Now, this one came out in 2006, so I'm surprised I haven't heard of it, but it's obviously been discontinued. It's from Aramis. Aramis always for him. Main accords, probably as you expect with cucumber, green, citrus, ozonic, aromatic, aquatic, warm, spicy, woody, fresh, spicy, and amber. We just said the other day, Intuition's just been released. They're trying to go in that Dior Sauvage type line. I think this was probably that sort of freshie that they tried before that's just never really worked with Aramis. They did Adventure as well. Really nice, fresh fragrance, but it's not what people expect from Aramis. So the top note is cucumber, lime, ginger, mandarin orange, cinnamon, middle notes mint, cardamom, base notes vetiver, amber, and cedar. It got 4.33 out of 5 of 87 votes. Seems like it's obviously a spring summer fragrance, but it just never really kicked on. And people in the comments, what do people say? It was very nice, easy to wear. With a nice creamy cucumber in the background. So it's good to hear that cucumber note is actually the thing that people really notice. And that's great. So it was obviously the thing that gave it, here you go, the classiest, most refreshing cucumber note with a hint of ginger, and later mint. It's a shame that these ones have been discontinued, but I think this one's just probably fallen away because it never really stood out in terms of it's not what Aramis do. And yeah, it's a shame because people do say the cucumber here was dominant, and I think cucumber fragrances is another note I want to touch on more. So yeah, if we can get that one at some point, maybe maybe we will. But if anyone tried that one in the early sort of 2000s, let me know what it was like. Right, 2 to go. Chicken satay and cucumbers. Presentation, not necessarily my strong point. Now, yes, I had chicken satays with my cucumber with mint sauce, and this fragrance worries me a little bit, and you'll see why I've picked it, because it's got chicken as a sort of note in it. It's got meat as a note. I think it does actually say chicken. No, it just says meat. So, what is this fragrance called? It's called Spinal Fluid. I've never heard of ataraxia. I don't know how you pronounce that. Perfumery. Now, it's ozonic, mineral, metallic, smoky meat, gasoline, salty, savoury. Now, it gets 3.5 out of 5 with 22 votes. The top notes are steam accord, gasoline, salt and fire, middle notes, blood and meat, base notes, bluebell, ozonic notes, and ash. This just sounds like a crime, doesn't it? It sounds like a crime scene fragrance, which I assume is what they're trying to do. What do people say about it, though? Yeah, they say it's ozonic, blue flowers. It's spectacular, someone said. It's a strong gas note. I think this has got a bit of a burning sort of vibe to it as well. And yeah, not sure about it. Blast of smoke, blood, gas, and flowers. Yeah, it's certainly a statement scent anyway. If you want these daring fragrances, that's why I wanted to bring this one up. This sounds like a daring fragrance house. Some people are just into those bold things that just smell so different. This one almost just scares me. It smells like, well, it feels like it's going to smell like burning flesh, and I don't like the thought of that. What do you think anyway? If anyone's tried these type of sort of bold fragrances, yeah, let me know. But I don't know if I'll buy this one, but you never know. It may just be worth it for a video. Tomato. Okay, I didn't want to sort of finish on a morbid one. So the last one, I just had a small tomato. And the fragrance house here, again, I've brought it up because I think I really like the bottles, first of all, with these ones. But also, I've never tried this fragrance house either. And it's called From the Garden by Maison Margiela. So this is, I think it's going to be a very safe sort of green fragrance, judging by this. But it's aromatic, fresh, spicy, green, citrus, patchouli, warm, spicy. Now, in terms of the sort of score, it gets 3.68 out of 5, but over 2,000 votes. Pretty good. Olivier Cresp is the master perfumer of this, so a very well-known person. Top notes, though, tomato leaf, green mandarin, geranium, base notes, patchouli. I wonder if it's going to have a bit of that greenhouse vibe. Now, I always say this with this fragrance here. Terre de Hermes Eau Givre. Absolutely love this fragrance. It is brilliant. And I get this greenhouse vibe with this. I think it's probably going to have that. It's going to have this sort of vegetal vibe to it. So what do people say about it? What are the sort of opinions of it? Are they good opinions? Are they bad opinions? Do they think it's a bit underwhelming? So people say with this one, yes, it's inspired by some sort of garden that this, I assume Olivia Cresp maybe been to. It's unwearable, someone said. It smells like vegetables, dirt, soil, citrus fruits with some flower and patchouli. I think you've got to like earthy citrus. If you like that earthiness, then it's great. And the problem is, some people will find that they don't want to spend sort of more money on that. When you go into these higher prices, which Maison Margiela is, it's a higher end sort of fragrance, people want a bit more of those woodsy sweetness things. This one, I think people will just go, yeah, it's nice. It's a bit like damp, earthy smell, but it's a bit boring potentially, or it's just a bit, yeah, it's just, they want something with a bit more complexity, let's say. Starts with a great earthy, pungent tomato leaf note, but apparently that tomato doesn't last very long either, so that's interesting. If I'm being honest with you, if you want that sort of grassy, greenhouse, outdoorsy vibe, I don't think you can go wrong with Hermes fragrances anyway. They're very good for that vegetable one. Dead Hermes Eau Givre is a stunner, an absolute stunner, and it will give you that sort of tomato vibe to it, I think, anyway. Certainly tomato leaf. But yeah, people do say they like the tomato element of it. So I did want to bring this one up, and I did just kind of want to make people aware of Maison Margiela fragrances. You can get them in clones by the fireplace in particular. So if anyone does want to sort of tap into those sort of houses, maybe start with a clone first. I think that's what I'm going to do with these, and that's why I brought this one up today. But yeah, if anyone's tried this one, let me know again. And if you know any tomato fragrances that we could try, then yeah, send them my way. So yeah, that is it for today. Now, I'm sure you've got many fragrances with these notes in, and it'd be really interesting to know if you've got, any currently in your collection you could recommend to me. But very interesting, isn't it? Some of those weird notes. Who would have thought meat would be a note in fragrances? Things like oats and stuff. I don't particularly think, why would you put oats in fragrances? And so it's a question I want to ask. If we can get a master perfumer to come and chat to me about it, or maybe I'll reach out to them and contact them just to see how they do it and how does it affect the blend of these fragrances. Because obviously I've just spoken about these notes that I've written down here and obviously you've been eating today, but there's so much going on in fragrances, particularly in those higher end ones. There's a lot of complexity. It's not just one single note in them. So what is that bringing? What is that oat bringing to a fragrance? What is that cucumber bringing? What is the impact it's having? How big an impact is it having? Or is it just some of those things that sort of lies in the background? But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Again, there's so many more. I'm going to have a kiwi tonight. I'm going to have some fish. I expect they're in some fragrances as well. Of course, these big designer brands, they're probably not going to ever go into them. So you may never use a lot of these notes, to be honest. But if there are some weird sort of fragrance houses that do want to go a little bit daring, then yeah, I'm all for it. I think it'd be really interesting to see what the future and sort of popular notes will be. We're obviously in that caramel vanilla phase. I don't think that's ever going to go. I think they're just timeless notes that people like. You can use them in male and female fragrances. But will there be another note that comes through? I really, really like the fact that Calvin Klein have got out a coconut fragrance, because I don't think coconut and rose in particular are notes that are really touched upon enough. And I think ice cream is becoming a favourite note of mine. Maybe it's because it's that vanilla type vibe. But yeah, fragrance world at the moment, cannot get enough of them. So yeah, that would be the sort of brand I recommend. But I hope I've kind of recommended some different sort of fragrances today. Some that maybe you've not heard of, obviously some that have been discontinued, some that hopefully if you did have them at the time, maybe you go, oh, I forgot about that one. And yeah, just sort of jog your memory rather than looking at the ones I necessarily have. Let's broaden our horizons and learn more about, the amazing millions of fragrances that are out there by some very daring brands there. I'll give them their credit. But thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this one today. And plenty of different fragrance content coming. I've got so many ideas in mind, just not enough days to film them all in one go. I wish I could. But anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you later.